The 8th Sutta, Nava Sutta. That man should venerate him from whom he learns the Dhamma as the gods venerate Indra. The learned person, thus being venerated, being pleased with the disciple, makes the Dhamma manifest. Having paid attention to it and considered it, the wise man, putting the Dhamma into practice, becomes learned, intelligent and accomplished, and being vigilant, he associates with such a teacher. One who follows an inferior and foolish teacher, who has not realized the meaning, and who is jealous, approaches death without comprehending the Dhamma, and unrelieved of doubt. As a man who has fallen into an overflowing river with deep water and a rapid current, carried away by a swift-flowing current, how can he help others to cross it? Even so, he who has not comprehended the Dhamma, has not paid attention to its meaning, as expounded by the learned, being himself without knowledge, how can he make others understand? As one who, having boarded a boat firmly equipped with oars and a rudder, and knowing the method, is skillful and wise, by means of it he causes many others to cross over. Even so, he who has attained knowledge and has a well-trained mind, who is learned and unmoved, clearly knows he can help others to understand, who are attentive to listen and ready to comprehend. Therefore, one should surely associate with a good man who is wise and learned. He should know the meaning and practice accordingly, and gaining understanding of the Dhamma will attain happiness. So this sutta is telling us to follow a good teacher, not a foolish teacher, and to practice what has been learned. Also here it says, it gives a simile. As a man who has fallen into an overflowing river with deep water and a rapid current, carried away by a swift-flowing current, how can he help others to cross it? We got to help ourselves before we can help others. Don't be like some of the people nowadays. I want to walk the Bodhisattva path. I want to help everybody, but they don't get rid of their defilements. They don't want to practice really the spiritual path. And if you practice, they say you are selfish. Just want to help yourself without instead of helping everybody. But the Buddha's teaching is that you got to help yourself first before you can help others. There's another simile in the suttas. The Buddha said, a man in the mud cannot pull another person out of the mud. You have to get out of the mud before you can pull another person out of the mud. The 9th sutta, Kimsila Sutta. A man of what character, Sariputta asked, a man of what character, of what conduct, by performing what actions, will be well established and will attain the highest well-being. And the Buddha said, let him be one who honors his elders, who is not envious, knows the right time for seeing the teacher, knows the right moment to listen attentively to the discourses well preached by him. Let him go to the presence of his teachers at the right time, be obedient, discarding obstinacy, stubbornness. Let him remember and practice the teaching, self-restraint and virtue. One who rejoices and delights in the Dhamma, and who is well established in it. One who does not speak in opposition to the Dhamma. One who refrains from unprofitable conversation. Let him pass his time with true and well-spoken words. Having abandoned laughter, gossip, complaining, ill will, deception, hypocrisy, greediness, spite, bad temper, impurity and attachment, let him live free from pride with steady mind. The essence of well-spoken words should be understood. The essence of learning and understanding is concentration. Here, the essence of learning and understanding is concentration of it. Or learning when understood is the essence of concentration. The wisdom and learning of a man who is hasty and negligent do not increase. Those who delight in the teaching taught by the noble ones are unique in speech, mind and action, are established in peace, gentleness and meditation, and obtain the essence of learning and wisdom. So basically, to learn the Dhamma well and to be obedient and not to practice the unwholesome things like laughter, gossip, complaining, etc. Next sutta is 2.10, Uttana Sutta. It's an urgent exhortation to exert effort. Arise, sit up. What advantage is there in your sleeping? What sleep is there to those who are afflicted by disease, pierced by the arrow of suffering? Arise, sit up. Train yourselves resolutely to attain peace. Do not let the king of evil, knowing you are negligent, delude you and place you under his control. Overcome this craving to which gods and men remain attached and seek pleasure. Do not let the opportune moment pass. Those who let the opportune moment pass grieve when they are consigned to a woeful rebirth. Negligence is a defilement, and so is the defilement which falls continuously from negligence to negligence. By earnestness and knowledge, let one pluck out his dart of passions. So this advice, not to sleep so much. Next sutta 2.11, Rahula Sutta. The Buddha says to Rahula, do you not despise the wise man by constantly living with him? Is the holder of the torch to mankind honored by you? And Rahula said, I do not despise the wise man by constantly living with him. The holder of the torch to mankind is always honored by me. Stop here for a moment. Sometimes disciple stays with the teachers for some time, and then he look at his faults. Sometimes, even though his faults are not big faults, but a person can be very critical. And after living for some time with the teacher, he finds fault with the teacher, so he'll despise the teacher. So here Buddha is asking Rahula whether, constantly living with the Buddha, whether Rahula despises the teacher. And the Buddha said, discarding the 5 pleasures of sense, enticing and delightful to the mind, renounce the home through confidence of faith. Be one who puts an end to suffering. Associate with good friends. Resort to a remote dwelling place which is secluded and quiet. Be moderate in eating. Do not crave for these things, robes, food, medicines, and dwelling. Do not be one who returns to the world. Have restraint according to the disciplinary code. Be restrained in the 5 senses. Be mindful of the body and continually develop dispassion. Avoid lustful signs which are connected with passion. Cultivate your mind which is concentrated and undisturbed on the impurities of the body. Meditate on the signless. Forsake the tendency of egoism. Thereby ending such egoism, you will live calmly. Thus the Buddha constantly advised Venerable Rahula by these stanzas. Although it's short, there's a lot of advice inside here. 2.12, Vangisa Sutta. This is also found in the Theragatha, verses 1263 to 1278. Vangisa wants the Buddha to confirm that his teacher has attained Nibbana. Once the Buddha resided near Alavi at a shrine called Agalava. At that time, the Venerable Nigroda Kappa, the preceptor of Venerable Vangisa, had passed away there not long before. Then a thought occurred to the Venerable Vangisa during his private meditations as to whether his preceptor had attained Nibbana or not. Then rising from his retirement in the evening, Venerable Vangisa approached the Buddha with due respect and questioned thus, we ask the Buddha of great wisdom, the remover of doubts in this world, the well-known monk, possessor of glory and peaceful mind, who died at Agalava. O Buddha, the name Nigroda Kappa was given to him by you. Being strenuous, he wandered about venerating you, aspiring to liberation, firm in the perception of the Dhamma. O Buddha, the all-seeing one, we all wish to know about that disciple. We are ready to hear. You are our master. You are incomparable. Cut off our doubt. Tell us about this. O you of extensive wisdom, make known to us whether he has attained Nibbana. O you all-seeing one, speak in the midst of us as the thousand-eyed Indra, the king of gods. Whatever knots there are in the world, leading to delusion, associated with ignorance, causing doubt, all these are untied when one comes to the Tathagata. Indeed, his eye is the greatest for all men. If a man such as you did not dispel passions as wind dispels the clouds, the whole world would be covered with darkness. Not even illustrious men would shine. Wise men are the enlighteners. For certain, I think you are a wise one. We have come to you endowed with insight and knowledge. Will you reveal the position of Venerable Nikaya to us in the midst of this assembly? O lovely one, quickly raise your sweet voice as a swan stretching forth its neck with a rich and well-regulated voice. We will all listen to you attentively. We earnestly request you, the pure one who has overcome birth and death completely, to proclaim the Dhamma, for this is not a mere fulfillment of the desire of those who are worldlings. Let the Tathagata act with wisdom. The explanations from you who are endowed with guileless wisdom have always been accepted. This final folding of hands is well raised. O Supreme Sage, do not keep us in ignorance. Knowing thoroughly the teaching of the noble ones, O you who are of untiring energy, do not leave us in ignorance. As one suffering from heat in the hot season longs for water, we long for your words, so please shower your words of wisdom. If Venerable Nikaya led a holy life, was this fruitful? Did he attain Nibbana with residue left behind? How was he liberated? That we long to hear. And the Buddha said, he cut off the desire for nama rupa, mentality and materiality in this world, which was Mara's stream flowing for a long time. He has crossed completely all births and deaths. Thus said the Blessed One, the chief of the five. Stop here for a moment. This nama rupa is mentality and materiality, and nama rupa in the suttas is the counterpart of vijnana. When vijnana consciousness arises, nama rupa automatically arises, and when vijnana ceases, nama rupa also ceases. And consciousness is knowing, conscious of something. That something is nama rupa. So nama rupa is the whole world, the whole universe, consisting of nama, which is the mentality, the mental side, and rupa is the physical world. So mentality and materiality is the whole world. So he has cut off desire for the world, mentality and materiality. And the Buddha is the chief of the five. The chief overcome the five, and the five, probably the commentary says it's the five senses, but it can also be the five aggregates. It's overcome the five aggregates, chief of the five aggregates. And this monk, Vangisa, said, you are the noblest of the great sages. Hearing your words, I am pleased. My inquiry has not been in vain. The Buddha did not delude me. The Buddha's disciple was one who acted as you said. He has cut asunder the outspread and strong net of deceitful Mara. O Blessed One, the Venerable Nikaya saw the source of grasping and certainly crossed the realm of death, so difficult to cross. The next sutta is 2.13, Samma Paribhajaniya Sutta. The right homeless life, or the perfect homeless life. Here it says the correct homeless life. Somebody asked the Buddha, I asked the sage of great wisdom who has crossed the flood of existence and gone over to the other shore, who has attained Nibbana and is steadfast, how should a monk properly lead a homeless life after going forth from the household life and having repelled the sense desires? And the Buddha said, in whom belief in the efficacy of omens like shooting stars, dreams and signs is destroyed, that monk who has avoided the resulting consequences would properly lead a homeless life. Let the monk give up the desire for sense pleasure, either earthly or heavenly, and passing beyond existence and understanding the teaching, he would properly lead a homeless life. Let the monk refrain from slander and give up anger and greed and be free from attraction and repulsion. He would properly lead the homeless life. Having given up what is pleasant and unpleasant, grasping at nothing, not dependent upon anything, being free from the fetters, he would properly lead the homeless life. Not seeing any value in material belongings, removing strong desire for grasping objects, being one who is unattached and who is not led by others, he would properly lead the homeless life. Being one who is not opposed to anyone, either by word, thought or deed, understanding the teaching well, aspiring to the state of Nibbana, he would properly lead the homeless life. The monk who did not become elated, thinking, the people respect me, and when abused did not feel ill will, and receiving food from others did not become exhilarated, he would properly lead the homeless life. The monk who, abandoning craving and becoming, abstaining from harming and obstructing others, has overcome doubt and removed the arrow of desire, he would properly lead the homeless life. The monk who, knowing what is suitable for himself, would not hurt anyone in the world, realizing the teaching as it really is, he would properly lead the homeless life. He in whom there are no latent evil tendencies whatsoever, and all the roots of evil have been destroyed, who, overcoming desires, has freed himself from them, he would properly lead the homeless life. One whose asavas are destroyed, who has abandoned egoism, who has completely escaped from the path of passion, who is restrained, emancipated and steadfast, he would properly lead the homeless life. One who is confident, learned, who sees the path leading to Nibbana, a wise man who does not take sides with quarreling sects, who has removed greed, anger and ill will, he would properly lead the homeless life. He who has conquered the defilements, who has torn asunder the veil of evil, who is well disciplined in the teaching, who has gone to the other shore, who is firm and skillful in the knowledge concerning the cessation of volitions, he would properly lead the homeless life. Stop here for a moment. This here it says karma producing tendencies. The Pali word is sankhara, nirodha, cessation of sankhara. Sankhara is usually volition. Volition, as I explained yesterday or the night before, that whenever we want anything, there must be the volition, the intention first. So if a person destroys a volition or seizes volition, then he has no more desire, does not want anything, that's why he has no volition anymore, does not use the will anymore. One who has transcended egoistic thought in relation to the past and future, who is of exceedingly clear wisdom, who is released from all sensual objects, he would properly lead the homeless life. Having realized the truth, having understood the teaching, having seen clearly the abandonment of the asavas, by the elimination of all attachments, he would properly lead the homeless life. And the questioner said, certainly, Blessed One, it is so. The monk who lives thus, restrained and having overcome all fetters, would properly lead a homeless life. So basically here is how to lead the homeless life. The last sutta in this chapter is 14, Nikaya Sutta. Thus have I heard. Once when the Buddha was dwelling near Savatthi in the Jeta Grove at Anathapindika's monastery, the lay disciple Dhammika, accompanied by 500 colleagues, visited him. After paying their respects, they took their seats and Dhammika addressed the Buddha. O Gautama of great wisdom, I ask you, acting in what manner does a disciple who goes from home to a homeless life, or one who is still a good lay devotee, act well? For you know the course of the world, including that of the gods, and also the way beyond. There are none comparable with you, who see the subtle meaning of things. They say that you are indeed the most excellent and enlightened one. Realizing all wisdom and being merciful to all sentient beings, you expounded the Dhamma. You are the destroyer of the veil of ignorance. You are the possessor of eyes on every aspect. Stainless, you illumine the whole world. The king of elephants, Eravana, hearing you were the conqueror, came near to you. After listening, he made an utterance of delight and went away saying, excellent. The Yaka king, Vesavana Kuvera, called upon you to ask a question on the Dhamma. When you were so questioned by him, O wise one, you spoke to him, and he also, after listening, was delighted. None of those disputing heretics, whether Ajivakas or Nigantas, can overcome you by wisdom, as one who is stationary cannot overtake the one who walks swiftly. Those disputing Brahmins, whosoever they may be, who are experienced, and others considered to be disputants, all of them expect some explanation from you. Indeed, this Dhamma, subtle and pleasant, which has been well preached by you, Blessed One, we all are longing to hear. O noble Buddha, will you speak to us when you are requested? Let all these monks as well as lay disciples sitting down together hear the Dhamma realized by the Stainless One, as gods hear the well-spoken words of Indra. So basically he's asking the Buddha to explain the monk and the lay disciple how they are supposed to act well. And the Buddha said, monks, listen to me. I shall make you hear the pure Dhamma. Will you bear it in mind? Let the wise man who is intent upon his own progress practice the way of deportment suitable for a renounced one. The monk should not be wandering at the wrong time, but should go to the village for alms at the proper time. Temptations cling to him who wanders at an improper time. Therefore, the wise ones do not wander at the wrong time. Stop here for a moment. The right time for a monk to go to the village is supposed to be in the morning to beg for the food. And the rest of the day, generally, we don't go unless we have something important to do. Forms, sounds, tastes, odors, and contacts completely intoxicate people. Putting away the desire for these things, he should go at the right time for the morning meal. The monk, having thus obtained his meal and returned alone, should sit in solitude, reflecting within himself. He should be self-composed, avoiding distractions. If he speaks with a follower or with anybody else or with a fellow monk, he should speak of the excellent Dhamma. He should not slander nor speak ill of others. Some put forward controversial arguments. We do not praise the people of lower wisdom. Temptations from here and there ensnare them, for their minds become deeply involved in them. The follower of the noblest wise one, on hearing the Dhamma taught by him, should make use of food, lodging, bed, seat, water, and clean his robe with due care. Therefore, in being detached from these things, the monk must be as a drop of water on a lotus leaf. That means not stick or attached to things. Now I will tell you of the rules of conduct for a householder, acting according to which he becomes a good disciple. The monk duty cannot be fulfilled by him who possesses household property. Let him not destroy life, nor cause others to destroy life, and also not approve of others' killing. Let him refrain from oppressing all living beings in the world, whether strong or weak. Then because the disciple knows that it belongs to others, stealing anything from any place should be avoided. Let him not cause to steal, nor approve of others stealing. All stealing should be avoided. The wise man should avoid the unchaste life, brahmacharya, or the non-celibate life, as if it were a burning charcoal pit. If he is unable to lead a celibate life fully, let him not transgress with another's wife. Stop here for a moment. So even for a lay person, the Buddha says, to lead a non-celibate life, that means not to engage in sex. And if he's unable to do that, then he should only Only do it with the wife, not with another person's wife. Whether he's in an assembly or in a public place, let him not tell lies to another. Let him not cause others to tell lies, nor approve of others telling lies. The householder who delights in self-control, knowing that taking intoxicants results in its loss, should not indulge in taking intoxicants, nor should he cause others to take them, nor approve of others doing so. Fools commit evil deeds as a result of drunkenness, and cause other people who are negligent to act accordingly. One should avoid this fear of evil deeds, this madness, this delusion, this delight of fools. One should not destroy life, should not take that which is not given, should not tell lies, should not be a drinker. He should refrain from all unchastity, should not eat untimely food at night. One should not wear ornaments nor use perfumes. One should lie on a mat spread on the ground. This they call an eightfold sacred observance or fast day, proclaimed by the Buddha, who came to do away with sorrow. Sorry for a moment. This is what we call Pakwanchai, keeping the 8 precepts. Being happy-minded, one should observe this virtue of 8 precepts on the 14, 15 and 8 days of the lunar fortnight. Sorry for a moment. This 14, 15 and 8 days, the 8 days refers to what we call the 8th day of the lunar calendar, or the 23rd day of the lunar calendar, of the lunar month. But in India, they observe every 2 weeks. So the 8th day is the 8th. The 23rd also is the 8th day, because they only have this 2 weeks. So the 14th and the 15th refers to either the 15th. The 15th is the 15th of the lunar month. It can also mean the 30th of the lunar month. Okay, 30th of the lunar month. And then the 14th refers to the 29th of the lunar month, or the 14th, because this is for lay people. For the monks, the 14th and the 15th refers to the 29th and the 30th of the lunar calendar, and also the 15th for the 15th. But for the lay people, 14 can be the 14th of the lunar month or the 29th of the lunar month. And 15 can be either the 15th or the 30th of the lunar month. And the 8th refers to the 8th day of the lunar month or the 23rd day of the lunar month. Then on the following morning, the wise one who has observed 8 precepts should happily provide the Sangha of monks with food and drink in a suitable manner. Let him support his father and mother in a proper manner, and also pursue a blameless livelihood. The householder, observing these duties with diligence, is reborn in the sphere of self-luminant beings. That's the end of the sutta. So here the Buddha is telling how a monk should behave and how a lay person should behave, like a good disciple. The Buddha advised lay people to keep the 8 precepts at least once a week, and if possible, every day also, keep the 8 precepts for lay people. Anything to discuss?
When I visit on paragraph 36, he's lying on a mat spread on the ground. Does that mean a bed is not okay?
A bed is okay, but during the Buddha's time, if a bed is high or broad, it's considered luxurious. So in the monk's precepts, a monk is not supposed to sleep on the bed where the bottom, the gap is more than 9 inches. One of the reasons for this was this nun, Upalavana. She was practicing in the forest, and this Upalavana was one of the young nuns, was extremely beautiful. So a young man fell in love with her. So, and then because her kuti was in the forest, this young man went into her kuti when she went for alms round and hid under the bed. And when she came back, this young man raped her. So this in the Vinaya books. So maybe this is the reason the Buddha says the bed should not, the gap should not be more than 9 inches. Otherwise somebody can go underneath and hide. Certain things considered luxurious during the Buddha's time is not considered luxurious now. As long as you use something which is not considered luxurious, it's okay. If you use a mattress which is 9 or 10 inches thick, that's considered luxurious.
Why the Buddha advised three people to observe 8% on this day, but not other days?
There is a reason, because the Buddha says on those Uposatha days, the 8th day of the lunar calendar, the 15th, the 23rd, and the 30th, or if there's no 30th, then 29th day, the devas of the 4 great heavenly kings, they come down to observe human beings. And they see, Kawai is keeping the 8 precepts, very good. Next time he'll be our member. In this chapter we just went through the 3 popular suttas, the Ratana Sutta, which we chant often, the Amaganda Sutta, and the Mahamangala Sutta. The Amaganda Sutta shows that not only our Buddha, but the previous Buddha also was not a vegetarian, so we can assume that all Buddhas are not vegetarians, because all Buddhas beg for their food, and beggars are not choosers. As far as eating meat is concerned, the Buddha says, if we eat meat, there must be 3 conditions. You don't see, you don't hear, and you don't suspect. That's what is stated in the Vinaya books. That's all. You don't see, you don't hear, and you don't suspect. So, what is it that you don't see, you don't hear, and don't suspect? You don't see, you don't hear, and you don't suspect that the animal was purposely killed for you. So if they already kill the animal and they sell it in the market, so when you buy, it's already slaughtered. So you are not buying an animal. As long as you are buying a corpse, it's allowable. If you buy an animal to eat, that is not allowable because somebody has to slaughter it. It's already slaughtered, then it's allowable. I've written a book called The Buddha's View on Meat Eating. You can look at that. If there are these 3 conditions, the Buddha said, there is no evil karma. It's entirely pure, totally pure. Okay, shall we end here?